All right, let's talk about it. That conversation. You know the one you keep avoiding, the one you're replaying in your head over and over again. Maybe it's talking to your boss about that raise, or a tough disagreement with your partner, or trying to give feedback to a teammate who's struggling. Today, we're going to break down the playbook for handling exactly those moments.
And this quote, man, it just hits so hard, right? Martin Luther King Jr. nailed it. When we dodge these conversations, we're not just avoiding feeling awkward. We're actually letting the most important parts of our jobs, our relationships, and our lives just fade away. So how do we speak up without blowing everything up?
Okay, so let's get specific. What actually makes a conversation crucial? Because, it's not just any old awkward chat. There's a very specific recipe for a discussion that can literally change, well, everything.
Here's the trifecta. A conversation gets crucial when these three things crash together. 1, the stakes are super high. A lot is on the line. 2, you and the other person just don't see eye to eye. And 3, because of those first two things, emotions are through the roof. We're talking performance reviews, big money talks, confronting a friend who let you down. You get the idea.
And here is the absolute craziest part. The very moment it matters most, we are often at our absolute worst. It's this bizarre paradox, right? The second the stakes get high, our brains basically get hijacked. Adrenaline floods our system, that old fight or flight response kicks in, which is great if you're, running from a saber-toothed tiger, but it is terrible for a complex conversation. The logical, calm part of our brain, it literally starts to shut down, right when we desperately need it.
And that brain hijack leads us straight into this trap. It's called the fool's choice. We convince ourselves that we only have two, and only two, terrible options. Option A, I can be brutally honest and probably destroy this relationship. Option B, I can just keep the peace, say nothing, and let the problem fester and get worse. It's a total false choice, and it sets us up to fail from the get-go.
And when you believe that's your only choice, you inevitably get pushed into one of two corners. You either clam up and go into silence, where you just withhold what you're really thinking, or you come out swinging with verbal violence, where you try to control or label or attack to just force your point across. And let's be honest, neither of those ever works.
So if that's the trap we all fall into, how in the world do we get out? Well, you have to completely reject the fool's choice. You have to change the entire goal of the game. This isn't about winning an argument or being right. It's about stopping the fight and starting to build something together.
The real goal here, the new goal, is dialogue. And I mean true dialogue. That just means the free flow of meaning between people. It's not about me pushing my agenda on you. It's about both of us getting all the important info out on the table so we can make the smartest decision possible together.
I love this visual. Think of it like this. I've got my information, my feelings, my perspective in my head. And you've got yours. The goal is to pour all of that into a shared pool of meaning that sits between us. The more we both contribute, the bigger that pool gets, and the more data we have to work with. That's where the smart decisions, the real solutions, come from.
Okay, but here's the catch. Before you can even think about adding to that pool, the most critical work has to happen right here, inside your own head. Seriously, if you walk into one of these conversations without getting your own thoughts and feelings straight first, it's pretty much doomed before you say a single word.
This is all about starting with heart. You literally have to stop, take a breath, and ask yourself these questions. What do I really want here? For me? For the other person? For our relationship going forward? The second you feel yourself slipping into wanting to win, or punish, or just save face, stopping to ask this can pull you right out of that destructive fight or flight spiral. So why do our emotions run away with us in the first place? It all comes down to this little chain of events right here. First, something happens. We see something, we hear something. But here's the key. We don't react to the event. We react to the story we immediately tell ourselves about that event. That story creates a feeling, an emotion, and that emotion is what drives us to act. It happens in a split second. And oh boy, are we master storytellers. We tell ourselves these clever stories that let us off the hook. There's the victim story, poor me, it's not my fault. Then there's the villain story, it's all your fault, you're a bad person. And of course, the helpless story. Well, there's nothing I can do about it. These stories are clever because they make us feel justified in our own bad behavior. So how do you break free? You have to challenge these stories by telling the rest of the story. You turn victims into actors by asking, okay, what was my role in this? You turn villains into humans by asking, why would a reasonable, rational person do that? And you turn the helpless into the able by asking, what do I really want and what can I do right now to move toward it?
This is how you get your power back.
All right, once you've got your own head on straight, your next job is to make sure the other person feels safe. Because let me tell you, nothing shuts down a conversation faster than fear. If they feel threatened, they will never share their part of the meaning.
This right here, this is a total game changer. People almost never get defensive about the content of what you're saying. They get defensive because of the intent they perceive behind it. It's not the what, it's the why. If they think your motive is to attack them or prove them wrong, their walls go up instantly, no matter how carefully you choose your words.
And that feeling of safety really boils down to two things. First, mutual purpose. They have to believe that you care about their goals too, that you're in this together. And second, mutual respect. They have to believe you respect them as a person, even if you disagree with them. If either one of those feels threatened, poof, safety is gone.
So what do you do when you see them getting defensive? You use this incredible tool called contrasting. It's a simple two-part don't/do statement. First, you hit the misunderstanding head-on. You say what you don't intend. Look, the last thing I want is for you to think I'm questioning your commitment. Then you clarify what you do intend. I do want to figure out a system for deadlines that doesn't leave us both so stressed. See that? It's like a magic wand for diffusing tension.
Okay, deep breath. You've done the internal work. You know how to create safety. Now for the main event. How do you actually say the hard thing? How do you speak your truth honestly and respectfully?
You use a simple acronym, STATE. First, share your facts. Start with what is undeniable and observable. In our last 3 team meetings, you cut me off while I was speaking. That's just a fact. Then, tell your story. This is your interpretation. The story I'm starting to tell myself is that you don't value my input. And then, this is the most important part, ask for their path. I'm curious to hear your perspective on this. You're not accusing, you're inviting them to share their side.
And the way you phrase your story makes all the difference in the world. You gotta ditch the forceful, absolute language like, the truth is, or everybody knows. That just slams the door shut. Instead, you use tentative language. Things like, I'm starting to wonder if, or from my point of view. It shows you're offering your perspective, not declaring the universal truth. It's confident, sure, but it's also humble.
Now, having a great, open, honest conversation is amazing, but it's not enough. If you have this breakthrough talk and then nothing changes, you've actually failed. The final critical step is turning all that dialogue into real-world results.
And the only way to make sure your great conversation actually sticks is to end with crystal clarity. First, you have to decide how you're gonna decide. Is this a command decision, a vote? Then you build a clear action plan. Spell it out. Who does what, by when. No ambiguity. And finally, you set a follow-up time. Let's check back in on this next Friday. That's what turns a crucial conversation into crucial change.
Look, once you learn these skills, you can stop dreading these conversations and start handling them with confidence. You can literally talk to just about anyone about just about anything. So the only real question left is this: which crucial conversation, the one you've been putting off, are you going to have now?